Hey, is this thing on? Just kidding. My name is Mark. This is a recording. Check 1, 2. Bueller. Oh wow, with you there now, I feel like
this is it. Yeah.
We're going somewhere. We're talking about something important.
And I think exactly. Yeah, that's
Jesse.
Is the cup in?
We're in a pandemic.
Dude, Mark. You started working for me.
I did.
Yeah.
I am now a J-Lane employee.
This has been something that has been so long coming, I feel like, because in your heart, you'd always be in my condo till midnight.
Truth.
Or beyond on the whiteboard with me, trying to map out which guy I need to hire next. Like, Mark, I got this problem. I know you have an amazing mind. Help me think through this problem.
Yeah, brainstorming.
Yeah. And I actually offered you a position like last year sometime.
And I declined it.
And you declined it. Yeah, respectfully, because you're like, dude, I'm in the healthcare world.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just stop everything I'm doing. I just did the PTA, physical therapist assistant course for like a couple of years, whatever, year and a half. And then you did all this 4 years, 5 years or whatever.
4.5, almost 5. Yeah.
Of working for a company, a very great, large company here in Jacksonville, Florida, building that career.
Did.
And then all of a sudden you text me one day 4 weeks ago and you say, I want to come work for you or something like that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I heard that you had a position opened. I guess my target about what I wanted to do, the next step of my career, wanted to be analytical thinking, wanted to be something in leadership field, leadership minded. Wanted to begin to utilize some of those skills that I've acquired over the years, not just at my previous job, but prior to that.
And construction is it could be very organized.
Has to be
Depends
organized,
on who's running it.
Right.
So you got to put the right people in place.
Again, that was my vision where I wanted to go next. So I kind of knew where the kind of job as far as what I wanted to
Did you know it was
next.
like construction, or you're just like,
no, I did not know it was
Jesse
construction.
he needs help, and I care for Jesse.
I knew what I wanted to step into. I thought it was going to be in healthcare. And so I was looking in healthcare, and I looked in several different places in healthcare.
You kind of spun the wheels, so to speak. You kind of explored every corner of healthcare for yourself before you made this leap. So it was nothing like impulsive.
It was not impulsive. I knew that I wanted to make that step. Currently I'm a physical therapist assistant, licensed here. I still have the license.
Oh yeah.
The opportunity wasn't presenting itself. And I was kind of looking again across the board.
You wanted to be director of rehab, which is like a bigly
that was a goal.
Like one of the most bigly things of healthcare, right? Right under the C-suite.
Well,
that's what you've said, right?
Yeah, well, so it's the goal was never C-suite. The goal was
I'm saying right below. It's like a leadership role.
It is a leadership role. We can call it a leadership role.
Right. Where I see you potentially, if you stick with it, going in this company is a leadership role and probably C-suite kind of thing, because I see you as running a large portions or whatever of potentially this company because of the people skills. 12 years at Jacksonville House of Prayer, which was like you ran it's like a business, the whole thing, and organized things. You filled in for the director of rehab a couple times at Brooks.
Yeah, so there's a lot of experience that I kind of gained.
Management experience.
My paradigm is leadership is always team, right? And so, even at the House of Prayer, lots of people that I ran alongside of, and people reported to me, but it's always a team effort. And the same thing at my healthcare company.
And if I could just say, Brooks is a fantastic company.
It is an
They're
excellent company.
Very large and well put together. They have a culture, which is a large part of what I think you could help me build with my company, because really it's all on my shoulders.
Right.
No one's really going to do that for me unless I'm like, okay, hire a guy, like he knows this. I have to like, as the business owner, put these things in place, or else it's just never going to happen. Because some things, like you've seen, there's like some chain of command things, like very small tweaks that you can see because of where you've been.
Right.
In the healthcare world, and Ron, the project manager that you're working under, is teaching you how thick drywall is and stuff, but anything about construction, which you already kind of had a passion for to some extent. Yeah. Your dad's a real estate investor.
Right.
And entrepreneur.
That's it.
But he did construction with the houses.
Are you going to fidget with those the whole
Probably
time?
the whole time. Yeah.
I was like, if he touches those knobs one more time.
they're not even getting any tighter.
You're like,
I'm like, you know what? let's just make sure.
And you look at them and it's like,
and
he was dusting them off at one point.
Well, there's actual dust on it.
Oh, I noticed. Again, it was Brooks, right? So you can put that in there.
Yeah.
And so again, culture is a big part of who I am. It was a big part of what was important at the House of Prayer.
And you helped me build my culture internal website systems.
Right. Or it kind of helped lay down what was already in your mind and your heart.
You pulled it out
you
of
wanted.
me. Yeah.
And I helped you manifest
You're
it
like,
onto it.
I need to add
something
technology to my mission statement.
Because it's important.
You're the one who did that.
Yeah. And so, and I was a big part of that at Brooks even, was art of caring, as that was their culture. And so I really loved that about Brooks. And that was one of the reasons that I wanted to come work for them, and that was why I stayed as long as I did. Seeing your side of your heart and how you express
as
your
a
company as a person, but even what you wanted in your company.
What drew you to me when you first met me when I was 19, 20?
Oh my gosh. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
A long time ago.
Decade and a little bit. More than a decade.
Thinking back, so I was at the House of Prayer at that point, and you,
Sorry.
and you were just a kid who came in.
Just a skater boy.
A skater kid.
You almost said, "See you later, boy," but you didn't.
Right, I didn't, and you're welcome for that.
Thank you.
Bounce houses, I think, is what you were doing. When he was 19, we did that, and just a skater kid. I think by that point you were
delivering bounce houses.
You were delivering bounce houses,
which are very heavy.
Quite
and
heavy.
Mark was like, "Let me come help you," and I'm like 19 and a half.
Yeah, and at that point,
you helped me, dude.
Yeah, there was just something about it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna befriend this guy, and
I think it was more of befriend this guy. It was more like, I want to be a big brother to this kid that's like in need of like someone to look up to a little bit.
So every now and then,
emotionally,
the Lord speaks something to me, and it's not all the time, but every now and then he says, you're to invest in that person.
It's not just me. It's
Correct.
multiple. There's Christian. There's Stefan. There's all these people that you.
There's a longer list and a shorter list. It's not forever.
Yeah.
Yours is turned out
Mine
to be longer,
extended.
which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when the Lord says that, I commit. Go serve Jesse and help him with a bounce house. But it's part of just building a relationship. Yeah. And so I guess that's how we met, and then we've just 10 years later.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's been...
You've seen me through this entire process.
I have.
You've seen the first year, the second, the third, the fourth, fifth, sixth,
Still remember
7th,
our
8th.
McDonald's conversation. Yeah. What do you want to do? Do you want to be a carpenter? Do you want to be a YouTuber?
I remember that.
That
was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
Because I was like filming guitar lessons and then like putting them on YouTube and then doing the carpentry thing.
Yep.
It's like, what's happening here?
Yeah. Part of you want to do skater, music. You're new to Jacksonville at that point. Where do I go? Do I go back here or there?
And then my parents were, which you'll see on my documentary video, which is coming out in December, hopefully.
He's got great parents.
Fantastic parents. But they're like,
shout out.
You need to be here in Texas. And I'm like, well, I don't want to live in Texas.
And that was a heavy thing for you.
Heavy pull. And I'm like, I'm not really being successful in Jacksonville yet or whatever. It's kind of like this process,
Yeah.
I'm working at Chick-fil-A.
You're at Chick-fil-A as well.
19 years old, and delivering bounce houses, whatever else I was doing. And I was working for other contractors as well.
Sean.
Well, that was later.
Oh.
That was like more towards when I first started my company.
Got it.
But this is like way early years, like work for Brad Bracey, building contractors. Yeah. And just like remodeling stuff and doing all kinds of stuff.
We call it small beginnings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I was finding my Jacksonville tracks. But you were a huge part of that for me.
Yeah.
Someone I can like talk to.
I was
and
one
I
of
still
many.
could talk to you, like just bigger problems.
Yeah. And and you actually, I mean, one thing for you chose to invest yourself into a community that was very positive for you.
Oh, it was amazing.
And it wasn't just at the House of Prayer, but it was at several churches. Yep. It was in several circles.
So many amazing circles.
So many people invested into you.
Yeah.
I was just one.
And then everyone got married. Now we're not friends anymore. No, just kidding. No, but there's a lot of guys that are like, I still talk to Alex, but there's like Tim and like all these different people. Ryan, I still talk to, but it's like, it has to be very intentional. Like, we're going to set it on the calendar. Like,
that's just a season of life.
Coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a seasonal life, and so it's your time became very limited, just like theirs.
It's true. People pay a lot of money for my time. And so for me to, it fills up. Life fills up.
Life fills up.
Can you imagine having like 3 kids and a wife? I imagine how those our friends feel.
Yeah.
So it's both.
Yeah.
I was married to my business for 8 years.
Yeah. And again, we all make decisions on the life we choose, in regards to various things.
Yeah.
Sometimes decisions made for us. Sometimes we get just to be a part of the world we live in.
It's all about how you react.
It's about how we react.
That's the whole point of life.
And so that's what McDonald's
Testing.
was. And I was just kind of challenging you on pick a road.
See, that's
pick
good.
Two roads.
That's like a discipleship, actually. Aaron's over here. You can come say hi if you want. We were talking about that earlier. Come say hi real quick. Get in here. She's like a little bit more camera shy-ish. But anyway, this is Aaron.
Oh, I can sit. Hello.
So, crap, what was I saying?
Discipleship.
Yeah, discipleship is like telling people like when they're wrong, but also like guiding them in a way that could be more hard, but it's real.
Other times it's kind of looking inside of someone and going, what do I see in you? What is your vision? What am I hearing from you? And kind of pulling that out so that you can see it. Discipleship is less about the discipler,
right,
and more about who am I
Disciplee.
discipling. I don't want to recreate me in somebody,
Right. So you saw this this light in me, or just kind of something you were kind of drawn to, but the Lord was kind of speaking to you to invest into this young guy that was finding his way. And with that investment, what kept you like in the pocket, so to speak, for a decade? With you never asked for anything to come real late to my condo and write in the wall,
right,
the whiteboard wall,
right.
Like why?
When I felt the call to invest in you, it was a service.
It wasn't selfish ever at all.
I think we should do humanity more often like that in general. This is a general statement. I'm not saying you have to live every relationship like this.
Of course.
Business needs to be business, and there's a cost, and there's, that's true. But in this case, I did not require anything from you, or do I expect anything from you to pay back anything like that? That wasn't what the Lord was asking.
Sometimes I
of
did.
Me.
A couple $100, whatever.
But that's your choice, and so that's why it's easy when there's not an expectation to get back what I've sowed into you. One, it makes it there's a liberty in that for me. I just get to serve you.
Right.
And
I wish more people were like that for other people.
Well, oftentimes no one knows. So people who have that mindset,
true,
that no one really knows what people get in return or the motive behind things. There are plenty of people in the world that serve, lavishly. They just kind of give of themselves, and they can be very productive and fruitful people as well, like strong business persons or whatever. But service, again, it's a condition of the heart. And it's of giving yourself to one another. I think it's very Christ-like in that sense, is that we just give of ourselves.
That's good.
And so that's why, long-term investments, people, sometimes we get to decide, and we get to pick and choose what life that we get to impact.
Right.
Other times it's just set before us. And we just serve the one in front of us. It's a Heidi Baker line. To start with the person in front of you and serve them, and maybe there's a leading, maybe there's not, but start. It's a lifestyle. Once that happens, you're going to find this person after person who are waiting. It's just they're out there waiting to be served. Who need to be served. And if you have the capacity to do it, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have the time, sometimes you don't have the time. Maybe the resources
so glad you did,
there,
man. And the fact that we're friends and we can work together towards the same goal. So when I get to the end, towards the same company, when I get to the end of my life, okay, great. I had an uber successful business and like made a ton of money, but then like I had zero relationships. To me, I'm all about the relationship with the people. And if I'm doing life with the people that I don't like, or not enough people at all, I'm just like to myself, or I'm not doing it with my friends, what's the point?
Right.
So that's why I partner with my cousin, someone who married into my family, married my cousin. I hired Jordan, my, second cousin or whatever, but he's like my brother. We grew up together. Now, working with you, it's cool. And we don't work directly necessarily every single day. Like, I'm not like your boss. It's kind of like, you work for my company.
The shirt says different.
Yeah. I mean, technically I'm your boss.
You are my boss.
Yeah.
There's no technicality about it.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, there is technicality to it.
It's total technicality.
Technicality.
I got that out too.
But I see you as a thought partner.
Right.
Where can we take this company as a team?
Yeah. There's another side that of this employment that was already existing, prior to me coming on board.
Like you literally were the guy who fixed my proposal template in Word. Then I updated it for the whole company, and it was like solved everyone's problems.
Yeah. I'd spend time with you, and if this was on your mind, then we'd do it. And I enjoyed it. That's that part of the analytical side of my mind.
Right.
I'm like, man, I love doing this kind of stuff. I love thinking through plans and the HR side of things and the business mindset.
You don't know construction though, as much as, so that was the whole thing. He was starting out, he didn't know construction, but you do, because you just,
I know about construction enough to get by the technicalities.
You haven't had a construction
Correct.
project management official like career or
Correct.
position. I took a huge risk, and it, just so everyone kind of knows, it was like a huge pay bump for you as well. So that was like helpful, I'm sure. But even at an entry level, that's kind of exciting, because it's like an entry level, I'm able to pay you this amount, and then it can only grow from there as you develop this skill, this whole new skill. But you're one of the best superintendents I've had. We've been working with for 3 weeks as far as documentation on the daily logs, like the level of detail, the organization. Subs are coming to me going, I really like Mark. I'm
That's
like,
good.
Sweet.
Good to hear. Good feedback.
Like this David and stuff. But like, that's how I know, because word will get out, like this guy's a jerk, or this guy doesn't know what he's doing. And as you learn more, I mean, there's only so many types of flooring and drywall and paint. But there are technicalities like MEP, like mechanical, electrical, plumbing.
So it's always a small world. And they even said that about therapy, and it's true. Relationships are important. You don't want to step on people. And you got to be careful, especially in leadership roles. Sometimes people define leadership as making someone do something, and that's not true leadership, and so there should always be this element of humanity that we're able to work with and talk with and be polite with people. And so that was very true in healthcare, and it's going to be very true in construction, but it is a small world.
It's just people,
these spheres that we work in, they're small, and we should honor and respect people as often as we can.
So there's a lot of that aspect, the HR, the culture, the character, all the things that you bring. And then the tech side, technology, knowing how to actually manipulate Word documents and work with
millennials.
The what?
Millennials,
yeah. So it's been nice, and people can come to you and ask questions, on the tech side as well. So you being like comfortable within yourself to even take this position for your friend's company, like you don't really want to like mess up, right? True. And I don't want you to mess up, and I'm taking a risk on you. You're taking a risk on, yourself, and our relationship would never really get, but you never know. I mean, I'm just saying that you want to do it right.
Right.
What gave you that confidence to take this huge leap of faith, of a whole career change?
Dramatic career change from healthcare to commercial construction. Big career change. And I was very clear with you and Ron and Alan at some point.
I'm a somewhat of a newbie on the construction world.
After talking with you and Ron and Alan, specifically Ron and Alan, because you're one of my friends.
It's our conference room at the office, by the way.
And so you're one of my friends. Yeah. Also, you're one of the leader of J Lane Construction. Right. But
there's also Ron and Alan.
There's Ron and Alan who have no reason to give me this position and really invest in that or to take that risk.
Other than the fact that I'm your friend, but there's also
correct. And so their opinion on the matter, what became important to me as I began to see who they were in the company, and both of them also said, hey, we see that you can be successful here, They
gave an example of someone else they hired.
Right.
And turn him in, that had no experience, and turn him into, like he was a waiter or whatever.
Right.
The best project manager.
And so that kind of gave me, so basically we're saying, we see things in you that we need now.
The intelligence, the organizational aspect, the people skills.
And we can train you in whatever else we need.
Exactly.
And I'm very
it's just a moment
open
of
to
telling
learn.
you
I'm teachable.
The construction detail.
Yeah, and I can learn the details. And that's going to be true with any job that you take. There's always going to be an element of continuous learning. There's always going to be an element of, this is what you know, but the next job is going to require more. And the next level of whether it's of job or where the company's going, you're always going to need to be adding on to what you already are.
Right.
You know, whether it's in a skill or a personality type or something very finite, like this is what construction is.
That's it.
You know, and so again, I'm very open and willing, and I expressed that to both of them, and they both had confidence, you know, in me in that, and that was reassuring. That like, I'm not going to.
It was actually that moment that made you make the big decision.
It was.
You were sitting in this chair, I think.
So I made the jump, and so far, 3 weeks in, I'm really enjoying it.
You're running a
it.
$5 million job.
That's right. Yeah, and it's about to take off.
Yeah.
And I'm ready.
You took over from someone that we moved to a
different job,
$7 or $10 million job, and you're running this one.
And it's again a big learning curve, but you know I'm able to do it, and I'm learning it, and I'm picking it up, and you know
Ron is there every morning.
Some long days and long nights, but that's expected.
So you're a superintendent,
you know?
and Ron is a project manager, and Ron helps you through the project
correct
management, and you kind of tell him what's happening on site, but he's also helping you through the superintendent duties. The scope of work is extremely important.
Yeah.
So understanding the lineup of subcontractors. I bought you a company computer, so you're building spreadsheets,
right?
Google Sheet for progress of completion of each unit.
Yeah.
And there's
created
116, 118 units. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a multifamily job, by the way.
It's somewhat chaos,
Do you think,
but also organized chaos.
The newness will ever die down? You don't know
I
yet.
don't expect it to.
I still learn new things about it.
The newness should always be there unless you get bored, you know. But I mean, at that same time,
You'll never
I think.
get bored with construction.
Well, I think where Jay Lane is going.
Where Jay Lane is going, because every project's so different.
Well, but it's also your goal. I think your vision is to continue building the company.
True.
You know, and so maybe this is the jobs we're doing now, but it might not be the jobs we're doing in 2 years.
Right.
You know, and
when I told my parents I wanted to build a $10 million construction company by the time I was 30,
you're there. Congratulations.
I'm way beyond there. I'm 29.
Yes, you are.
So, but they looked at me like I was insane. And last time I visited them, I'm like, hey, I'm going to have a $100 million company. And they looked at me like I was out of this world.
Still.
Wow. Well, 100 million. I mean, to them, it's like, anyway.
It's a paradigm.
It's a mindset.
Big number.
It's just a mind. It's just a number.
Just a number, you know, and it's what is your capacity as the company lead? What is the capacity of your team?
It's actually a huge point why I brought you on. Business is systems and people, and then people to run those systems.
Yeah.
So I brought you on as a superintendent because I knew that's the entry level, so to speak,
it is,
of learning construction. Once you learn construction, it might take 2 years,
right?
You know, to really get a bunch of projects under your belt. Then we can bring you maybe more into the office and kind of like build a very large company.
And so we need to choose carefully the culture and the environment that we choose to work in.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not just saying what you're doing,
right?
You know, but it's, you know, what is the mood or the culture, or the feeling, and what is the programming that you're getting, you know, around the work environment, you know, and if it's not who you are at the core, you know, then maybe you should consider a new company, you know, and if it's a standard in an industry, then maybe you should consider a new industry,
right?
You know, but your core needs to be in agreement with the culture, you know, and that's where someone's going to thrive, you know, and that's one of the reasons I loved Brooks is because they had such a high standard.
Yeah.
You know, they were excellent nurses and therapists and whatever, right? You know, but they had a culture, you know, that couldn't be broken. It's like, this is our standard excellence, you know, and this art of caring. And I loved that. And that's why I stayed with them for so long. The House of Prayer had a standard, a culture of honor, you know, and that was their standard. You know, when we're here, this is how we're going to operate.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't just the language. In both of those areas, they chose to live it out from the front line all the way up to the top leadership. And as you grow, there's going to be more needs.
Right.
You know, and we've discussed that in the past.
Yeah. You
know, and that's part of the reason that's what I was doing as not an employee, kind of helping you map out what you were thinking, what you were wanting, your vision, you know, again, just soundboarding. for you and going, well, sounds like what you're
Just
looking for.
making me say it out loud.
Say it out loud.
And then
This
you
sounds like
write
more of a vision.
it on a whiteboard.
This is a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Never say that again. Stop saying this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's, everyone has those people, and so, and I think in the back of your mind, just because we've talked about it, there's an element of that, is what you're also hoping for me down the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so again, that's all part of
you might even be the
business.
director of HR. I mean, who knows?
Well, that's all part of growing a
not.
business. And so if you're a smaller company with a few employees, you might not need the big HR, but the bigger you get and the larger you get, the capacity, you need more.
Yeah.
You need more structure and more, and that's how you grow a company.
That's how, yes, one step at a time. Yeah. You got to start small. So dude, thanks so much for joining the company. And this was fun. I mean, I'm really excited, whether it be many, many years. So far, so good, right?
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes. But I'm really excited to have you a part of the team and grow this thing with you.
Yeah. With
one of my friends. That's what it's all about. Like I said.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah. So that's it. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Woo!
Dunzos. Hard cut.